Uh, okay, guys, I think that pretty much everyone is here. I think that we can start the webinar now. First of all, thank you very much for joining us today. For you attending this webinar regarding the Parklio Payment Terminal. My name is Nicola. I am a sales and marketing manager here at Parklio, and today I will be guiding you through this webinar, giving you all the necessary information regarding our newest developed system, which is the Parklio Payment Terminal. Later on, I will be joined by my colleague, Josip Labrovic. He is the Director of Technology. He will be here with me in the Q&A session that we will have at the end of the meeting. So I would really like to implore any questions that you have throughout the webinar. You can just write them in the chat box, and then later on, me and my colleague Josip, what we will do is we will go through each one and give you an answer. This really means the questions are important to us, not only for you so that you can better understand the product, but we've asked ourselves so many questions when developing the system. So when we get sort of new eyes on the system, new questions, that really helps us as well. Okay, so for the first part of the webinar, I'm going to give you sort of a slide presentation. We're going to go through sort of the ins and outs of the product, and then we'll do sort of a combined live demonstration with the payment terminals that we have here in the office. And if I can just ask you, for everyone that's joining to sort of mute your audio, that would be very much appreciated. Okay, let me just share the screen with you and we can be on our way. 1 second. Okay. Second. Okay, guys. Yeah, so as you know, as I said, my name is Nikola Lisves, and my colleague Josip will be joining later on at the Q&A. Okay, so a little background on the Parklio Payment Terminal and our solution. This was something that was in development for about 2 years. The reason why we went with the Parklio Payment Terminal, it was just the logical next step within our catalog of products. You know that we have a vast array of access control products for parking detection, for ANPR, and this is just something that was sort of logical. And what we wanted to develop is our own payment system, which is user-friendly and which is as plug-and-play as possible. What you're seeing right here on this slide is our Parklio Payment Solution product line. Here you can see each and every product that really makes the Parklio Payment Solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each and every one of these solutions and giving you sort of an in-depth look of what each and every one of them is. The great thing about our payment solution is all of these products. So when you have a client that wants a payment solution, you don't have to offer each and every one of these solutions. You can combine them, and that's really the great thing about what we have developed. So starting from the entry parking terminal, I think it's very self-explanatory. A parking terminal which will be placed at the entrance of a parking lot. Pay on foot parking terminal. This is a terminal that will be used for payment. Exit, again, very self-explanatory. Parking payments terminal at the exit of a parking lot. A pay on foot touch payment terminal. This is a little bit different. It's similar to this one, but obviously a bit different. We will go into that a little bit later. We have a pay on site integrated QR printer and a wallet application, a new standalone application. So when it comes to active markets right now, so for markets where this type of solution can be integrated the very next day, this is the European Economic Area, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. Very soon, we will be expanding into the USA territory and the MENA region, the Middle East and North Africa. So that's just a little bit of information for you where the solution itself is applicable as of right now and where we are planning to expand very, very soon. Okay. Now let's go into the product demonstration itself. I'm going to go through each slide, telling you a little bit about these terminals, and then we're going to do a live demo to show you how these products actually work. The entry parking terminal, as I said before, very self-explanatory. So this parking terminal will be located at the very entrance of a parking lot, and this parking terminal will be connected with a parking gate. That means our Parklio smart parking gate. I think that each and every one of you, just from experience, when you go to a parking lot that has a payment solution, it's always connected to a gate. That's sort of the industry standard. So the entry terminal, one of the things that are most important to know is that it has an integrated QR code scanner. And that integrated QR code scanner comes in handy when we are using our Parklio wallet application. Then it also has an integrated, give me just 1 second, guys, please. 1 second. Give me just 1 second. I just need to check something. Okay, just 1 second. 1 second. Okay, everything is good to go. My apologies for that. So the entry terminal, what's important to understand is that we have an integrated QR code scanner. Now, this QR code scanner will come in handy for the Parklio wallet application, which I'll show you a little bit later on. It also has a ticket dispenser. So you can see that the entry parking terminal is it's good for a ticketless and a ticketless solution and for tickets as well. It really captures and stores the entry details and ensures that precise session management. What's also very important to note with the entry terminal that it can be upgraded with an ANPR solution. Now, it's good sort of to go to the next slide and really see these flexible access options. So we can have a standard ticketing option where you would arrive at the entry terminal, press the button, it will dispense the ticket, and then our session is started. When we press a button, it sends a signal to the gate to open, and that's when our session is starting. We can then upgrade that solution with an ANPR, camera-based system. Now, when we put an ANPR camera, it's going to link that ticket with your vehicle license plate, and it's going to enable that effortless tracking and validation. So if you have an ANPR camera, so let's say you have dispensed the ticket, you enter the parking lot, you pay for your parking, and then when you're leaving, you will have obviously another ANPR camera at the exit, which will then detect your license plate and automate the exit. And obviously we have the last, the Parklio wallet application, as I just mentioned beforehand, where users can scan the QR code that they have within the application itself, and then use that for entry, exit, and payment. So this is a little bit about the entry terminal. As I said, I'm going to be showing you how it looks in real life a little bit later. Now we jump on to the next terminal, which is sort of the logical step. This is the pay on foot parking terminal. Just from the title itself, this is a payment terminal. What's most important to understand about this, it has a QR code reader. This QR code reader is to essentially scan either your Parklio wallet application, the QR code within the app, or your ticket. Then it will calculate how much you need to pay, and then how you're going to pay is through the point on sale or the POS terminal that is integrated within it. I'm going to show you later on how you use a credit card to pay. One thing to note, and most important thing, that our payment terminals are only for card payments. So we don't offer a cash way of payment. We do have another sort of hybrid solution for that. There are many reasons why we went with credit card payments, and we'll get to that a bit later on. So yeah, as you can see, it has a QR code scanner, it has a point of sale system, and that really secures that contactless payment, and that's really it when it comes to that. We always recommend, and this is when I talk about combining solutions, we always recommend to have that pay on foot parking terminal, which will be placed somewhere conveniently within the parking lot, somewhere where it's very easy for people to come and to pay, because it reduces congestion on the exit. because as you will see in the next slide, the exit terminal also has an option for payments. And then you can sort of skip this step, but we always recommend to have a pay on foot parking payment terminal just because it's much simpler and it sort of reduces that possible congestion on the parking lot itself. And yeah, what you can see here from the slide is just that seamless payment experience, reduces that wait time, eliminates the need for physical cash, and ensures quick transactions. So as you can see, this is sort of that natural flow where you have the entry terminal that dispenses the ticket, then we have a pay on foot terminal where we are actually doing the paying when we're done with our parking, and then we're moving on to the exit parking payments terminal. Now, the exit parking payment terminal naturally is going to be located at the very exit of the parking lot. Now, it also has an integrated QR code scanner, and it also has a point of sale terminal as well for payment. Now, this is again where I'm sort of enhancing that combination where you can play around with the system. So if you have, for example, a client that doesn't want to pay on foot terminal, he wants to have an entry point and an exit point, then we can offer him the entry terminal and then the exit terminal, because what we can do here is we can go directly to the exit terminal. We can scan the ticket. It is going to calculate how much we need to pay. We put our card on the POS system, and everything is done right then and there, and it sends an automatic signal to the gate, and you leave. Another option is the ANPR integration. So it's the very same thing that we had beforehand with the entry terminal, that if we want to upgrade our exit terminal with an ANPR camera system, we can do that as well. It just enables that frictionless, ticketless parking for greater convenience. So these are the first three terminals that you have gotten to know, the entry, the pay on foot, and the exit terminal. Let's move on to the next one. The pay on foot touch payment terminal. Now, obviously from the picture itself, you can see that this is a different type of pay on foot payment terminal. It serves somewhere close to the same purpose as the first pay on foot terminal, but it is a little bit different, and you can see that directly just from the product itself. It has a much wider LCD screen, which has a high resolution. It really is sort of a cashless payment system that supports credit card payment because it has that POS terminal integrated and also a QR code scanner for the Parklio wallet payment. Now, where the pay on foot touch payment terminal really comes into play is when we integrate it with ANPR camera systems. Now, let me just sort of describe to you a use case where this would be absolutely perfect. So if you have a client that doesn't want to have an entry terminal, doesn't want to have an exit terminal, he just wants that pay on foot touch payment terminal, what do? We would install a gate at the very entry, and we would put an ANPR camera on it. The ANPR camera will detect the license plate of a vehicle that's coming in, and it would grant him access. In that very moment, it's where the parking session starts. When you are done with your parking, how you pay is you go to the touch terminal, you put in your license plate, it's going to calculate how much you need to pay, and then after that, your parking is validated, and when you're leaving, you're greeted with another ANPR camera and gate, which will allow automatic exit for your vehicle. So this is sort of that a little bit different type of a solution from the initial pay on foot terminal that we just spoke about. And it operates through a web-based interface that allows that remote management, data tracking, reporting, and all that necessary information you need as a parking lot operator. So these are sort of the initial terminals. Let's go on to the next solution. So right now, what I'd like to do before I get into the point of sale integrated QR printer and validator and our application, what I'd like to do is I'd like to switch and actually do a live demo for you so you can sort of get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So give me just 1 second. Let me just stop sharing. 1 second. And now we're going to switch the camera. Okay. So let's start with this. Maybe just 1 second. Okay, so for your better understanding, what we have here is all of the payment terminals that I spoke to you beforehand. So this here is the entry terminal. As you can see, it has a QR code scanner. It has a button here for ticket dispensing. Here we have what is called the pay on foot terminal. You can see that it's a pay on foot terminal because it has that QR code scanner where we are going to put our ticket in, and then a POS machine for payments. And then here we have the exit terminal. The exit terminal, which will be located at the exit with the QR code scanner, and again, that POS system, which what I want to say again is where you can make your payment. You can make your payment either on this one, which would be conveniently located somewhere in the parking lot where you would come to pay and then go in your car, or directly at the exit terminal. So what I can show you now is this here is the entry terminal, and with every terminal, what you're going to get is a wireless keyboard, and this is what you use for setting up the terminal. So initially, what the client is going to do when he is installing the system, he is going to do sort of the initial setup, and he can always access these settings. So essentially, what I need to do is I press on the keyboard, and right now I have a different interface. And what I do here is I go into the settings, and it's going to ask me for a PIN code. Now, let me just put in the PIN code.
I'm sorry, are you opening your camera?
I'm sorry if you can just any questions that you have, if you can just put them in the chat box. So here, what I've done now is when I enter the PIN code, we have sort of a display of different settings that we can work with. Initially, it's going to give you that information about the device itself. It's going to give you a model. It's going to give you what software version, the IP address, and stuff like that. Then we have, I know maybe you don't see it, but essentially what we have here is a couple of tabs. You have network. So when we click network, it's going to give us that feedback on how we connected to the internet, our strength and stuff like that. We can work here with display and sound, so we can sort of adjust the sound, adjust the display. We can put in the date and time. We have another tab, which is I/O control. This I/O control is in regards to the physical product that would be connected to a terminal, which is a parking gate. Then what we also have is here a QR and RFID reader. This is for us to sort of check whether the QR reader is working properly. Then we have a printer and ticket. So here, for example, again, for us to check whether or not the printer is doing his job, we can do like a test, for example. So when I press here, you can see that the ticket has been printed. This is just for our test. Then the most important, I would say, tab out of all of them is lot and tariff. Now here is really where we set up how our parking is going to work. So here what we can do is we can set up the working days. We can set up it in a way where, let's say, Monday to Friday, we are charging for parking, and then for the weekend, the parking is free. Or we can put in every day that it's going to be charged. We can also put custom hours here. We can put in the hourly price. What we can also do is we can sort of put in the free time. So let's say, for example, when you enter a parking lot and you don't find the parking space, you can set it up where you have 10 minutes free time to exit the parking lot. So these are all things that you can play with, work with, and sort of adjust to your own liking. And yeah, this is sort of, we have another one here, tariff maxima. This is for, let's say, for an entire day. So sort of the maximum of what a tariff would be. And sort of the daily ticket price as well. So the daily ticket price, you would adjust to what you think is best for your own parking lot. With all the data that we give you through our other interfaces, which I'll show you a little bit later on, you can sort of understand what is the best price for you. And that's really it. We also have here some advanced settings. And if I want to go back, I click the button and I press start application and I'm ready. That's it. So a wireless keyboard comes with every single terminal. Now let's sort of give you an idea of how this flow would work. So I would arrive with my vehicle to the entry terminal, and then what I would do, I would press the button, and now it dispenses the ticket. The ticket itself, it has some information. You have a ticket title, you have a QR code, you have the ticket ID, and it gives you also a time and date when you started your parking. Now, if I were to, for example, go and, so I didn't find any parking, so what I do now is I go to the pay on foot terminal, or I can go to the exit terminal as well. What I do, when I scan it, it says free exit within the next 1 minute. So now what I have to do is I have to go to the exit. I click here and it tells me, to leave. And essentially, that's really it. So that's when the parking is free. What I can do maybe now is I have some other tickets, so I can show you how the payment is actually done. So this is a ticket that I issued beforehand. Now I can scan it here on the pay on foot. Again, I have a free exit here with this one. So what we'll do actually is I'll just print a new ticket here and leave it for 1 minute. Because the free entry, the free exit is 1 minute, so we'll let 1 minute pass and then we'll check the payment a little bit later on. Just for you in terms of the sort of the hardware aspects, it has an IP rating of 56. So all of these terminals can be placed, of course, on the outside, so it can withstand temperatures from -10 to +60 degrees. But we'll also have an offer is actually coverings for the terminals themselves, for the pay on foot terminal, so it can have that sort of extra layer of protection. And the great thing about the terminals is they can be customized. So if we can customize the barriers, why not the terminals again? So if you have a client that wants to put in his corporate branding, wants to put his own logo, a little bit of color to it, we can do that as well. Second of all, when we were designing these terminals, especially when you look at the entry and the exit terminals, we can design them so they are at an optimal height for the reach from your car. So when you're from your car, when you press the button, that it's at an optimal height. Obviously, sometimes you're going to have use cases where, for example, you have a parking lot that's for trucks. When you have something like that, you need a terminal that is going to be elevated. And as you can see right here, what we have is we have different types of pedestals that you can place the terminal on, and then it will give you that elevated height if you need that elevated height. Okay, let's try and scan it. I think it was this one. Let me try and scan it right here. Okay, now it says follow payment instructions. Now this is the point where I need to pay. And what do? I take my card, and it says here I have to pay 20 cents. This is what we set up. 20 cents is just something for a trial. And right now, the payment is being done, it's being authorized, it's paid, and the ticket is validated. Now, I get into my car, I go to the exit terminal, and this is what I do. I scan it here, it says have a nice day, and then what we're doing is we're leaving, and that's it. So that's sort of the flow when it comes to these types of terminals, so the entry terminal, pay on foot, and the exit terminal. And you can play around. As I said, you can have these two, or you can have three, which we always recommend. Now, one more terminal that I didn't show you. This is the pay on foot touch terminal. You can see that it's very different initially because, first of all, the screen itself, it has a much bigger LCD screen, which is also touchable. And here is that sort of that situation where I talked about before, where it comes really in handy for ANPR solutions. So essentially what I do is with an ANPR solution, I come here and really I can just put in here my license plate. Let's see something like this. I press OK, and now what it's asking me is essentially to pay. And then what I do, I just place the card. Very same thing as on these two terminals. I pay, and that's it. So this is what you can also see here is some images that are being turned around for potential advertisements. And one more thing to note is that it does have that QR code scanner. This is for the Parklio Wallet app, which I will give you a demo very soon. And yeah, that's it. One more thing to note is for the Pay on Foot Touch terminal, it doesn't have the same IP rating as these ones. So what we always recommend is for semi-open spaces. So what we always recommend is to have a cover that we do have an offer for the Pay on Foot Touch terminal. So I think that pretty much is giving you all sort of the necessary information to you to understand the flow, how the system is used, which terminal serves which purpose, and that's pretty much it. Let me just switch a camera, and then we'll talk about the remaining solutions. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so what you have seen now is everything related to credit card payment. There's obviously going to be clients that are going to ask you for cash payments. And the reason why we went with credit card payments, there is a lot of different reasons. First, we're a software company. We're always looking towards the future. I think everybody today has a credit card that they use for payment. Cash is also a little bit messy when you have cash within your terminal. It is also prone to burglary, so there's a safety reason behind it. Also, when you take that cash into banks, they're going to take a provision. So these are all sort of counter arguments that we use when communicating our solution. But still, you're going to have those clients that are going to be willing to have that cash option, and this is what we offer. It is sort of it's a hybrid solution, and this is our point of sale QR code validator and reader. So essentially, this here is a handheld device. This understands, or it's natural that a person has to be present at the parking lot for this to work. So essentially, what you would have is a person designated on the parking lot. Somebody is done with their parking. They want to pay with cash. So essentially, what you do is you take it. It has a QR code scanner right here. You would scan the ticket itself. And then what you can do is you can either pay by credit card because it has that payment here, or you can just give me cash. And that's the alternative to that. And I can give you change, you can give me change, and that's really sort of the alternative solution that we offer with this. This is sort of a great solution for, let's say, a use case such as hotels in the service industry, hospitality, where you have somebody at reception that is there 24/7. So it's essentially a two-step process where you just have to pay with this and that's it. So this is a hybrid solution when we talk about cash payments. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to the presentation and tell you about our Parklio Wallet application. Give me just 1 second so I can share. 1 second. Okay, so as you know, this is the QR code printer that I was just talking about, the hybrid solution. And now, finally, the Parklio Wallet application. I think that a lot of you know the Parklio Connect application, our initial app, which is used for access control and for sharing digital keys and many other options. I think that pretty much all of you know that application by hand, but this is something different. This is our new standalone application, which is called the Parklio Wallet. So really within this application, what you will have is you will have a QR code which will be used for entry and exit, and you can do payment within the application itself. So really, users can just pay in seconds by just holding their smartphone, so no need for cash, anything like that. It's a great option for ticketless parking. What I'll be showing you now is a demo of the application. Right now, the app is going through the authorization process with app stores. is going to be available on Android and iOS phones. And yeah, let me just go into the demo itself, and then we can start directly. 1 second. Okay, so this is how the application itself is going to look. What we always go for is for the app to be very, very user-friendly. So what we can do, 1 second, what we can do is we can log in, or we can sign up using our email. I'm going to press log in, and what I would have here is my email. What I do then is one second, I press log in. And now what you see here is what you will be greeted with. So you have a QR code. This QR code, and it even says it here, scan QR code to enter or exit the parking. As you know from before, our terminals, entry and exit terminals, and the pay on foot terminal, they have a QR code scanner. So when you're entering, you scan this QR code, and from that point on, your parking session is active. So here you have the ID of the QR code itself. Here we can go, you see these different tabs. We can go into history, and with parking history, we can see essentially all these transactions that were made before. We have an ID of our individual QR code, the duration of the parking, and the date. Then we can go, 1 second. 1 second. Give me just 1 second. Let me log back in. Okay. So I'm having just a little bit issues here. So in any case, what we can do here within the app is we can also go within the wallet itself. Within the wallet itself. 1 second. Yeah. When we go within the wallet, what we have here is we have our balance. So we have €5 here. We have all of the recent transactions, so that we made before when we topped up our wallet. And now if I want to top up, I go here. Okay, my computer is a little bit slow, so I apologize for that, just because we're streaming. So it seems that in this certain situation that it has unfortunately blocked a little bit. Just see it one more time. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm having some issues, but in any case, so within your application, you're going to have, as I said here, your balance. You're going to top it up. You can put in any amount that you want, and then every time you do a parking transaction, it will deduct from your balance, and really that's it. So this is an application that will be visible very soon within your app stores for iOS and Android as well, and it really gives that sort of ticketless solution to your clients as well. Okay. Now let's jump on. So this is the product demonstration. I hope that I sort of given you enough information about the products themselves. Now we can switch on to the next aspect. Already told you that it can be aligned with the brand identity, that the terminals themselves can be fully customized to match that corporate branding. Now, let's jump into something that is very important, not only for your clients, but for the end client as well. So this is the financial aspect of the Parklio Payment Terminal. Now, usually, whenever you talk about a payment system, that payment system often entails sort of a rigid process of signing contract with banks. Bureaucracy, something that can sort of discard the client. Why we were developing this for over 2 years is we wanted something to be, as I said before, very user-friendly, something that is plug and play. So with all of our payment gateways that we have, and we have multiple gateways, we have sort of avoided that process for the client. So all of the hard work has been done beforehand by us, so the client doesn't have that struggle with banks and stuff like that. All the client has to do is set up his products. He has to do a quick KYC process, which is essentially giving his bank information and getting basic information of the company, just to validate the client itself, and really that's it. When it comes to pricing, obviously, whenever there is a transaction being made on the parking lot itself, there is going to be a small fee. A certain percentage is going to be taken by the bank, a certain percentage by us, and then by you as our partners. So that is going to be that small percentage taken from every single transaction. And there will be a fixed fee for invoicing as well. Now, I would love to share more information on these specific numbers on that, but all of that, since this is going to be going on YouTube, what we will do is we will share all of that information from a financial standpoint to you directly. It will be available to you also from your account managers. So any questions that you have regarding that financial aspect, you can talk directly to your account managers. But for you to understand is that it is much with our system, it's much more easier for the client to install the system and having it up and running in no time. Let's jump on to the next slide, and that is our invoicing platform. I just want to say that with all of this that I've just shown you, the physical products and everything, we will also have an invoicing platform, not only for your customer, but for the end client as well, the client that actually uses the parking lot and pays for the parking lot. What I want to show you is our parking management system and some of the things that you can see within the parking management system as well. So let me just jump into that for a second. Now, within our parking management system, what the client will do is go to create a new parking lot and just put in any name, address, you can pinpoint the location of your parking lot. And here I'm going to enter our default lot. And I go into zones. Now, within zones, I will have visible my parking terminals. Now, here you can see some interesting things. These are the terminals. You can see that their status is online and remote control. What the client will be able to do from our parking management system, for many of you who already use the PMS, it has remote control. So if any reason I want to open, let's say, the exit gate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the button, I'm going to send that information to the terminal, and the terminal is going to send a signal to the gate to open. So what it has that remote control option. What we have here also is a list of sessions. Now, here in the list of sessions, this is where you will be given information on every single parking session that has been done within your own parking lot. So you can filter it by session ID. So every QR code has its own session ID. What you're going to have is the entry time, and you're going to have the exit time. Why it's NA is because no one actually exited the parking lot. So that's here for our default setup. But you're going to have an exit time as well. You're going to have the entry duration as well. You are going to see here what the specific ID amounted to. So as you can see, these ones here, this one here was done by me. So what you can see is that it was actually 2 cents, which was the default rate for 1 hour. So I paid for that, and you have that visible here. So every time there is a session on the parking lot, it will appear here immediately within your parking management system. And then the payment type, obviously here it says none because this was the one that we left early, so there is nothing paid. But here we see that we have card. And now when you have all of this data, all of this information, then you can really decide, okay, am I charging too little for my parking lot, or am I charging too high for my parking lot? So in that case, you can really work with different kind of things. Now let's get on to the invoicing. Give me just 1 second. So when it comes to invoicing, we will have a platform which is fully customizable. So let's go here onto the dashboard. So For invoicing, we have a platform where you will have all of your invoices that are fiscalized. You're going to have them all at one place, and you can filter them as well. Here, for example, you can put in different colors. Obviously, you can put in your company name. It's essentially white labeling, so you can really customize it to your own taste. What you can also do, if there's a need for that, you can click here, new invoice. You can create a new invoice if you want, create a new client. So there's many different things to sort of play around when it comes to the financial aspect and invoicing. So let's go here, go into issue documents and go into invoices. So these are some of the invoices that were made by us here through our default system. And here, like for example, if we go right here, this was the one that was made by me when I was showing you how to use and how to get a ticket, pay for the ticket, etc. And we go here, and here we essentially have all the necessary information on the invoice itself, the date and time. It has its own QR code, the payment method, and stuff like that. And all this information can be customized by you. So this invoicing system right here is for, I just want you to understand, this is for your client that is a parking operator. So this is where all of his invoices are issued. But then there comes a question, but what about the end client? The end client that that wants his own invoice. Then we go to invoices.parklio.com. Now, on one of the things that I didn't mention, that on the screen on the payment terminals, it actually says if you want what to pay, if you want a invoice, go to invoices.parklio.com, and this is where we enter our session. So essentially, we can put in. Give me just a second. What we can do is we can put in a ticket. So this is my ticket ID. I'm a user, I'm an end customer, and I want to receive an invoice. So as I said, go to invoices.parklio.com. I will put in the ticket ID. I press that I'm not a robot, and then I submit. And what happens is that an invoice is going to be downloaded. And this is the invoice for me. So essentially here, I have my invoice, I have everything that I need here, and this is how we issue invoices for end clients within the system itself. Okay, so let's go back to the slideshow. So this was a little bit about the invoicing platform, a little bit about those financial aspects of the system. As I said, those financial aspects, those percentages that we'll be taking, and you as a partner will be sharing all of that information with you, just due to the sensitivity of the information. Now we can go to another very important part of the webinar, which is installation requirements. And this is and I really implore for you guys to put in your questions within the text, because later when my colleague Yossi joins us, he's actually the brains behind the operation, so he can really help sort of describe everything in great detail. Here, what I would like to focus on, just for your better understanding initially, is first power and cabling, networking, and magnetic loop. Here you can sort of see a scheme of the products themselves. When we talk about power, the power supply for the European Union is 230 volts, and for the United States of America, it's 115 volts. And now this is connected to cabling itself. When we talk about cabling within our user manual, we have sort of a recommended type of cable that we use for all of our terminals. This is always going to differ project by project. You know, sometimes you're going to have, let's say, a power source which is, for example, 70 meters away from the installation point. There you can sort of talk with us, talk to your account managers, and sort of get a recommendation on what type of cable would be best in that scenario. So that's just something to think about. So when we talk about networking, this is something that is very, very important. So each and every terminal has to have an internet connection. and it has so through Ethernet cables. What we recommend is for it to have Cat5 cables or higher quality than that, but Cat5 should be just fine. It is very important for all three terminals. So if you have a use case of an entry terminal, a POF terminal, and an exit terminal, they all have to be connected to the same subnetwork. This is something that is sort of non-negotiable. This has to be that way for order to the system to communicate with our servers and back. So this is in terms of networking. And then sort of the latest one is magnetic loops. Magnetic loops are vital in this case. Now, what you can see here, for example, when you look at this scheme, we have an entry terminal, and the entry terminal is connected to an entry parking gate barrier. And what we can see here is also a vehicle sensor. Why do we install magnetic loops? First of all, we would have 2 magnetic loops per terminal, so per entry terminal, for example. When you arrive at the entry terminal, a magnetic loop sensor will be installed into the ground right beside the terminal. Why is this? Because it gives us feedback information that there indeed is a vehicle right next to the terminal itself. Because this prevents any type of misuse. So it won't allow just any person to come, press the button, and for the ticket to come out. It needs to know that the vehicle is there. So that's the first magnetic loop. The second magnetic loop would be installed right beneath the arm of the gate. And why is this? When we pass that second magnetic loop, it's sending information to the terminal that the car has indeed passed, and now the parking session has started. And that's really why we need the magnetic sensors also on the exit as well, to know that the person is actually in the car in front of the terminal and that it has passed and exited. So these are sort of the 3 major key points. So the power supply, the cabling, networking, to know that it's Cat5 or higher class cable, that it needs an Ethernet connection, and that it needs that all terminals need to be on the same subnetwork. And then at the end, as I just described, the magnetic loop for recognizing that there is a vehicle there and that the vehicle has entered or exited the parking lot. As I said, write down your questions. My colleague Josip, he is really knowledgeable when it comes to stuff like this. So a little bit later on, we can go into that. Josip, you can actually join up here. This is my colleague, Josip. As I said before, he is our Director of Technology, and he'll be joining me for the Q&A here. Okay. Innovations, a little bit shortly on this, backward compatibility. If you have, for example, an existing client, this means that our system, the Parklio Payment Terminal, is compatible with existing systems that you have already installed before. So let's say, for example, you have a client that has 2 Parklio gates and 2 NPR cameras that he uses for an entry and exit. In that case, you can offer him the Parklio Pay on Foot Touch terminal. So this is what we mean when we say backward compatibility. It's compatible with prior existing Parklio systems. Modular system and versatile pedestals, we already told you that it is customizable in terms of branding. The versatile pedestals, we can adjust it to the sort of ideal height when it comes to the terminal. And yeah, that's really pretty much it. Let's jump in to delivery times. This is the last one before the Q&A. So when we talk about delivery times, me and my colleagues have done really an extensive research on many different markets regarding parking payment terminals. And the delivery time of 8 to 12 weeks is a perfectly understandable delivery time, especially when you take into consideration some other manufacturers of payment systems. So this will be the delivery time, 8 to 12 weeks from the order placement. Me and Josip would like to thank you for attending this webinar. I really hope that I gave you some insight into the solution on how everything works. This is a pretty big, I think we've been working on this solution a very long time. We're very proud of it. And this is something that I think will be huge for not only us, but for you as partners as well. And get to your account managers and we can get to work.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day.
Bye bye.